don't want to live next to gypsies.
Two worlds that don't see eye to eye.
A horse in a garage on a housing estate is not normal.
Unable to live together.
They're not from our community.
They're humans, but they don't live like humans.
Don't want us on site, she don't like us in houses. He likes to be in a gas chamber and be gassed.
They tar us all the same brush. Absolutely disgusting.
When two cultures collide.
I have nothing against travellers. I have a problem with people who don't abide by the law.
Communication breaks down.
You can't get no more gypsy than this, can you?
Can travellers and the rest of Britain ever live together?
To use the word parasite might be really hard, but in some ways that's what they are.
Will relationships ever improve?
We all can get on. Give us a chance, we can get on.
I'd be ashamed of myself if I did this to people.
Or will the gypsies and travellers be pushed even further away?
Yup, yup!
This week,
Good girl.
Romany Gypsy Bill has got a fight on his hands.
These are the most racist people. It should be called Ku Klux Klan clubs.
But he's a gypsy and proud.
I don't want to hate, I want to educate.
Traveller Weddings makeup artist Georgia is also standing up to prejudice.
My ex-boyfriend was a non-traveller. Someone pulled out of like a traveller's site and he was like, oh my God, you effing pikey. My whole life it's just been fighting to prove that I'm something.
And harness racer Watson is trying to unite gypsies and gorgeous
Racism is alive.
for a death-defying climb.
One slip and you fall 500 feet to your death. Oh.
In Kent, Romany Gypsy Bill Cook
Good girl.
isn't getting along with his neighbours next door.
They formed an action group against me. They commented that smells, crime rate will go up, children screaming. The pensioners rely on their equity in their houses, and Mr Cook will destroy that.
12 years ago, Bill bought a plot of land, a place for his 4 children and 7 grandchildren to live together.
I didn't want to put in planning permission for a high-rise block of flats or for a leper colony. Just wanted to live here in peace. And it's lovely, look. Got all my children here. Beautiful, isn't it? These are all my little grandchildren here, look. That's Christiana, that's Vienna Star, that's Mary Louise, that's Isabella. Come here, Patrick. What right has my next door neighbour got to say to me, you will devalue my property? It makes you feel lower than second class. I'm a likeable fella, I want to get on with everybody, but I drive me horses, you get tooted at, you get smirked at, you get laughed at. I've actually said hello to people and they put their heads down. I think if you're treated as a second-class citizen, it sort of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I'm not really sure if I want to reach out to my neighbours, to be honest with you. Down the bottom there, it should be called Ku Klux Klan clubs, because they formed an action group against me and my wife and children. They didn't want us to live here. One lady down here at one of the houses, I asked her what was wrong. She said, I don't want to live next door to gypsies. Simple. One man said to me, so my wife's been in tears. He said, you're going to devalue my property. God forgive me, these are the most racist people that I've ever had to meet in my life. Up here on the left somewhere, he's been made to move. He was a convicted sex offender. He had underage with a little girl. There was no in-residence action group formed for him, but because Billy Cook put him for the mobile homes, persecution. Absolutely disgusting.
21-year-old Georgia is an English traveller from Godalming in Surrey. She and her siblings grew up surrounded by horses.
Let the reins go a bit.
But like 80% of travellers in the UK, Georgia lives in a house.
We're literally surrounded by houses and surrounded by people who aren't from our community. They just know, like, horse walks outside, rowdy little teenagers. They don't know us, they know us.
Georgia has chosen to integrate with Gorges more than the rest of her family.
Everything has to have its home, otherwise when I get to the job I don't know where it all is.
After finishing college, she set up her own hair and makeup business.
I know a lot more girls these days that work than they did when, like, say, my mum was younger. And they're like, yeah, we can do that. We can go out and earn a bit of money, and it's not wait for the man to come home and put his dinner on the table. You've got that all for yourself. Like my children, it's hard to choose your favourites, ain't it?
Georgia mainly does traveller weddings, and today she's doing makeup for English traveller Anastasia.
Right, so do you know what we want?
Same as what I did last time, but curly at the back.
But she's keen to expand her business.
I think my business is a baby at the minute. How's your mum?
Yeah, she's all right.
But I just want to be like a household name for hair and makeup, really. And then one day it would be to build a brand. Like I want to have a makeup brand and have my name stamped on an eyeshadow. You know what I mean? It would be the dream. Do you want to sit round here a little bit more so you can see?
George is also keen for her younger sister Mary-Kate to share her dreams.
I just thought, who better than my own family to take to work with me? Our goals are quite different. Her plan is to have a lovely home and like a lovely family.
This ain't working.
And I'm career-minded, so I'm just trying to put a little bit of that side of me into her. I'm doing like a sunset eyes, and I'm just going to take this colour.
But Mary-Kate has other ideas.
It gets very boring sometimes. I do it anyway so I can help my sister out and make her business bigger. But, it just gets so boring. Have you ever had a gorge or asked for an eyeshadow like this, or is it more plain?
No, they tend to be a little bit more like reserved.
I think a lot of people in the area don't know Georgia is a traveller because she just doesn't really act like a traveller, she's more like a gorger.
I think I'm a bit of a chameleon. I can mix between the two. I don't necessarily think many of my gorger clients know I'm a traveller, but their style tends to be a little bit more subtle, whereas travellers are like, do me a blue eyeshadow with pink glitter and go mad and do what you want. And it's more fun for me because I can be more creative. I never ever dread going to work.
Love it?
Love it. Every day I get a bit bigger and better, and then I was better than I was yesterday, so that's all it is really.
Mwah, mwah.
Rome weren't built in a
See
day.
you later. Enjoy yourself. Bye.
Today, Gypsy Bill Cook is heading to the trading estate that has been in his family for almost 50 years.
I'm going to Oakview Trading Estate in Halton Kirby. It's where I conduct my business. It's like the hub of our little property empire. Today I've got my clean shirt on, so I won't be doing nothing. I'll be just giving a few orders.
The light and a day of a trading estate. Jesus Christ.
Bill Cook's site manager is Gavin.
It's not a gypsy campsite. It's not a place where they're having cockfights and dog fights and whatever other shit goes through people's heads. It's actually a trading estate with pretty normal people that come and go to work. I've known travellers all my life. I've been around travellers all my life. 99.9% of them are pretty much to their word. You do get that odd 1%, that 1 in 100, that is a shitbag. The only problem is when you do get a shitbag traveller, he can normally fight like fuck, and he's normally a dangerous fucking bastard.
None of the staff here are travellers, yet Bill believes he's received complaints because he is a gypsy.
I do believe we are working very, very well with Sevenoaks Council now. All the improvements that we have done, 5 members of Sevenoaks have all said this estate down here is looking absolutely amazing and looking a million times better than it's ever looked. I do feel that the neighbours round here give us a bit of a hard time because everybody thinks it's a gypsy, or sorry to use the language, but a pikey campsite, and that's what people say.
Which we don't have that word. Yeah. I don't have that word said.
No, I know, but that's what
I understand what you mean, but
that's what people
said.
think it is.
Yeah,
that's what words for racism. There's words for discrimination. I mean, as you know, I've got one arm, and I get called one-armed bastard and spastic and all this on a daily occasion. But to be quite honest, none of it affects me, and I don't pay attention to it. However, I've never met anyone in my life that's up against it as much as you are on a daily basis. I've been there when your house has had RSPCA turn up for nothing. I've seen how the council treat you. I've seen how the neighbours speak about you.
For all I come across laughing and joking, I do get a bit of depression.
You build a community here and everyone makes their living and you feed a hell of a lot of families. You're a good guy. You do what you say you're going to do and you keep your word. And that's... there you go.
But Bill's not going to take it anymore.
People shouldn't stereotype, they shouldn't judge. It's wrong. It stops from today.
Romany Gypsy and new dad Watson lives in a chalet on a family site in Bishop Auckland.
She was only about a week old the day she went racing, and she was premature. She shouldn't have even been born when she was racing.
Watson is a professional harness racer, and through the sport, he's tried to integrate with the settled community.
We're very acceptance of travellers in this area.
But Watson's aware that's not always the case for gypsies across the UK.
Accepted racism is alive. And it does happen. There is a them and us. And one of the problems is stereotyping. The settled community stereotyping travellers of they think everyone's going to rip off or they're beat up or everyone's a bare-knuckle gypsy fighter or whatnot. But if there's good actions, you will receive good press.
Last December, Watson launched a campaign on social media, encouraging people to donate to their local food bank.
Me and my wife was just shopping and I kept noticing that the food bank bin didn't seem to get any fuller. I said to her, I could easily make that happen.
This is my gift to the homeless nomination what I've made up, lads, for you to come to our local food bank and give a little bit of food to the homeless people.
He harnessed the power of the close-knit traveller community, and the campaign went viral.
I nominate Seamus Taylor, Bronson Taylor,
My brother Michael, Big Danny McAllister, Joe McAllister.
Do what you can, it's for a good cause.
This year, Watson's decided to go one better.
How's it?
He's got his sights set on climbing the highest mountain in the British Isles, Ben Nevis.
What charities have you actually got involved now then?
We're doing it for 2 little kids. A little lass who's down in Essex. She's got like a rare form of cancer, God love her, and she's really bad. And there's a little lad over in Newcastle. And as soon as you read the little stories about them...
It just obviously touched your heart straight away.
You couldn't say no to them, could you?
Who else is doing it with you then? Like
A few lads from round here is doing it. There's not all travellers
no,
that's
it's
doing
not
it.
all travellers then, is it?
It's about 50-50 actually, I think, who's got the names down. It proves that stereotypical that settled community don't mix with travellers and all that bullshit what they try and portray on them other show.
Yeah.
It puts that to bed really.
And how you think you're doing?
Go up the top of the summit, like it could be like -10. If you slip, you could fall to your death, couldn't you? Gypsy philanthropists takes up 50 bold men.
And only 13 come back down alive. Like that's the last thing that you want to be remembered by. There we are. Good night, darling. Yes, what you don't die when you're up there.
Not all on die, I'm immortal.
Hello.
Back in Godalming,
Yeah, that's
a
me.
trial job's come through for makeup artist Georgia
Perfect.
from a dance theatre school. Time to call on her newly trained recruit, Sister Mary Kate.
I've got a job on Monday.
Yeah.
Do you want to come? I'm quite looking forward to it. Like, I don't really do like dance shows and things, so it's something different. I can have a string to my bow.
No, not really.
Why? That wasn't a question, I was telling you.
I don't really want to. I don't feel very confident to do it.
And it's not even like I can talk you round, it's a flat no.
No, I'm not doing it.
All right, I'll see how it is. Bye.
Bye.
The cheek as well. The pure cheek.
Undeterred, Georgia is still keen to grasp the opportunity.
The more practice you get, the better you're going to be. Like, practice makes perfect anyway. And it might be like another little niche to get into.
In Warwickshire, local resident and animal lover Joe is on a mission.
Getting the right leg.
She's part of a community dog watching network.
Just getting latest updates here.
Joe's staking out unauthorised traveller encampments.
Giving us an idea of where they've gone.
She believes she'll find evidence of animal cruelty at these camps, not towards their horses, but their dogs.
Oh dear. Oh God.
If you did see an animal being mistreated, then you would go up and try and get hold of it, and take it off them. That's the name of the game. So.
Jo is passionate about monitoring the movements of travellers, and she's been tracking them for months.
With the animals, the main concern is the conditions. Very little water left out for the dogs, so that was where the concern started, and it's been following it from there, really. Some puppies have been bought off the travellers, and they've been found to have mange, which has got a serious skin condition.
Members of Save Warwick Dogs gather evidence on their phones and then share their findings online.
You've got a poorly hand, darling. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Oh, baby. That is not a covered kennel.
This evening, Joe has tracked down a traveller encampment and is heading out to the local leisure centre car park alone.
Well, you have to be a bit careful. You do feel that if you get noticed, then they're obviously not going to be very happy about it.
Nighttime surveillance can provide cover.
Aha. Bingo.
But not on a floodlit car park.
Right, so we'll just have a bit of a cheeky walk around.
She's taking pictures from afar before venturing closer.
Previously, they've had up to 20 or 30 dogs, perhaps more. I've seen a couple of dogs tied up there, dogs barking, but I'm not quite sure where from. I've seen a couple of dogs just loose in the car park. One looking very thin, a small whippet type. Been spotted, I think.
Joe hasn't been able to get close enough to inspect the animals tonight, but she has collected her photo evidence.
I can now update our Twitter and Facebook pages with what's been going on. That dog was definitely behind the hedge, behind the fence. No water that I can see.
She's sharing her suspicions and exact location of the camp, then lets social media do the rest.
Well, people are responding and retweeting. Fabulous. They're getting out there already. Very good.
And it looks like her tweets have got to Romany Gypsy Bill.
Dog tied up behind a van, and then all of a sudden it says, there's a skinny brown whippet. Well, whippets and greyhounds are thin. A couple of kennels, no water, I would see. Yeah. I wonder if she ever says on here, are the children nourished? People see a skinny dog, or they see 3 or 4 nappies strewn across the floor. They don't see how a struggling family, who have they got gas, have they got heating, have they got running water, education, health service. They don't see none of that. Sad.
Like Joe, Bill is also gathering evidence and sharing it online.
I do a lot of posting on social media. I call it Mooey Book. Mooey in Romanesque is your face, Facebook. I said it and now everybody calls me Mooey Book. But I think people need to be educated, except with racism. It's alive, it's rife. All over the country. All over the country. You go onto Facebook and it's everywhere. Every other page. Dirty pikeys, dirty pikeys, dirty feeding pikeys. It says John from Hull. Dirty pikeys shouldn't be allowed to keep horses, they don't know how to look after them. Rubbish clearance. Make sure they've got a waste carrier's licence and they're not do-as-you-likeys. That's another one, they call you do-as-you-likeys, pikeys. To call a travelling man or a travelling woman a pikey, it would be like calling a gangster a grass. That's a no-go area. It's a no-go, it's a disgusting, demeaning word. I would never dream of calling anybody a derogative name.
Bill's childhood friend Donna, who isn't a traveller, has seen the effect local conflict has had.
I've known him for 40+ years. When he was growing up, he didn't speak about the racism that he encounters, but his neighbours brought him down constantly, day in, day out. You'd see posters around where he lives, don't use these traders, they're gypsies. Bill's name would often be on there. It's unacceptable, unacceptable. So we start at Wapping.
Yep.
Today, Donna is helping Bill organise a regular event, a traditional horse and trap drive through central London.
And then we cross straight over to Borough Market and just a complete...
Eat jelly deals.
Oh, yeah, an overdose of shellfish, yeah.
So we're going to do the same charity again, St Christopher's, which is the children's hospice, because they're still raising money for their air conditioning unit, and everybody supported it well last time.
All right, Dad. How are we doing, sir? How are you doing? Yeah, Kirsty, come sit down.
Bill and his dad have organised hundreds of drives over the years, and like every gypsy event, the hardest part is finding somewhere to eat and drink.
We can't get served in pubs. You go in a pub, they've got a bowl in the corner to give a dog a drop of water. We can't get a glass of beer or a lemonade.
When my wife died, they closed all the pubs.
The police went round to all the pubs?
It says close them.
Because there's a big gypsy funeral?
Yeah, liberty, and out, liberty. I don't know what they think gypsies are, but it's not fair.
In Anglesey, on the north coast of Wales, lives Romany gypsy Raymond.
That's an old traveller's wagon, old boat top they call it.
His family have lived here for over a century.
Lots of my family lived in them over the years, you know. We know what we are, we know we're gypsies, and we're proud of it. We are different from settled people, obviously. We live different lives.
Although Raymond has overlooked those differences, he lives permanently in a bungalow and is married to Janice.
Put the old kettle on so we can have a drop of muttering mangry.
Who isn't a gypsy.
We've lived here for about 30-odd years. And we've brought 4 children up here, 4 boys, you know.
Raymond's own childhood was tough.
That's my mum and dad. There was 10 of us, and it was a hard old life for them. In the summertime, we used to go around looking for a bit of booty, a bit of work, and then we'd end up knocking somebody's door that was in school with us. When we went to school after the holidays, it used to be fun making then, you know. It was quite upsetting, really.
Today, it's even harder for his community, as there are fewer places for gypsies to stop.
How many times did we look here? Yeah. When we were travelling the roads. Yeah. But there was a few lay-bys and things at that time. But since then, they've been all blocked up with stones, haven't they? So there's nowhere.
It's wrong.
It's a damn nuisance, really, especially when you've got children, you know.
Raymond is backing the local council's plans to build a traveller's site on Anglesey.
They need a little site so they can pull up in Anglesey.
Yeah.
You're not talking about hundreds of sites like the Gorgia people have got.
No.
We've got caravan sites here, trailer sites there. The old gypsy people only want one little site and then they'd be happy.
After a 2-year search, the council have proposed a site down the road in the village of Star, but the locals don't want it.
You know, you can't run it down. You can't say, well, no, it's not going to be any good. We can't put the travelling people there. It's too dangerous and all this, that and the other. If we all keep saying things like that, there'll never be a site made.
Over 1,500 Anglesey residents have already petitioned against its location between 2 major roads.
This is where the site is going to be proposed, here. And it says on that sign there, no site here, too dangerous, too expensive.
There was a traditional stopping place in Anglesey for travellers toing and froing from Ireland. But that's gone. Now travellers have started camping on private land.
They parked in the field, roughly behind the gates there.
Jonathan is the owner of a roadside cafe in neighbouring Conway. And recently, a group of travellers camped on his land.
They said that they were here to stay and I had no right to move them.
He used a digger to take them on.
I came about 4 o'clock in the morning and I blockaded them in. I called the police. They said it was a civil matter. They couldn't get involved. The travelling people said, we've got 2 people that need to go to a hospital because they're having babies. I said, that's fine, but they can get a taxi. I'm not moving. Something's got to happen. They can't stay as they are in this modern world. I'm sure there are some very good, clean gypsy sites somewhere. But if I was living in Star, I'm afraid it's really NIMBY, not in my backyard.
Next week, the councillors will vote yes or no to the traveller site in Star.
Basically, this site here is better than nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Back in Kent, Bill's getting the Cockney Duchess ready for her parade.
This mare is the best stepping half-bred in the UK. She's called the Cockney Duchess. I love this mare. Terrible, isn't it? She has more shoes than my missus. I've had her over a year now, and she's never ever let me down. Every drive, I'm always up the front. What I love about drives, if it's to meet all your pals, it's the only time you see anybody other than a funeral. We have a good old day out. In London, the tourists love you. We get welcomed up in London, they love it. The black cab drivers are proper old boys, old Cockney boys, they're like ourselves, and they're rough and ready. Old big, oi, oi.
not everyone is so welcoming. Every year, Bill's friend Donna struggles to find a pub willing to accept any gypsy, let alone more than 100.
Hi, Gavin.
Hello, darling, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Very well indeed.
Can you make some calls for me, please, this morning?
To who?
Some pubs to see if we can get some stops for the drive. You know the route.
Yeah, I know that you're probably going to get blanked on the pubs and all.
I've been round to some of the pubs on Bill's behalf to give them warning. You know, we've got a drive coming through, there'll be X amount of us, and then somehow the gypsy word gets mentioned. Is it travellers? Is it the gypsies? And you say yes, no, we're closing.
Can we book your public house? Travellers are doing a raise money for charity, and basically they want to pick your pub to stop and have a bit of dinner in. Would that be possible? How do I arrange it? How do I go about it? They will be with horses, a lot of horses. OK. All right, thank you very much. All right, God bless, tell her, bye. I think I've got more chance of laying an egg. As it's a traveller's drive, we hear them change their voice and start breathing heavy. We're doing a charity horse drive. It's a traveller's horse drive, and basically you're on the route, not a drinking pub. OK. Don't worry, I shall give your pub the swerve for the day. Thank you, my darling. God bless. It's not a drinking pub. It's more of a foodie pub, so we're basically just saying fuck off.
In the northeast, Romany gypsy Watson has come across two families' stories online.
There's two very deserving children. A little boy who's quite local to here in Newcastle, Sean, and a little girl, Isla, who's down in Essex, that we want to donate the money to equally. They both need to go to foreign countries to receive life-saving treatments. Today's a big day because I'm going to go meet Sean and his family and announce to them that we're going to donate the sponsorship that we received from climbing the Ben Nevis Mountain.
Like many gorgers, Sean and Sonia have had little or no contact with gypsies, and they are grateful for this support from a stranger.
His actual condition is severe cerebral palsy. He's got epilepsy. He's down as registered deaf and blind. Can't walk, can't talk. He's tube fed.
Sean was starved of oxygen at birth, which was hard because, I mean, you're going to hospital to have your perfectly healthy baby, so within a day or two we're getting told he's got severe brain damage.
Are you Sean, pal? I'm Watson, pleased to meet you, lad.
It's a pleasure. Nice to meet you. Have mate, this is the family. This is my little boy, Sean.
The little lad.
The man of the moment.
The man who we need there.
Nice to meet you, Watson. I'm Sean.
That's my wife, Sonia. Yeah,
Sean's life
definitely.
expectancy is only till his teens, and we've researched this stem cell treatment for years, and if anything happened to him before we went, we'd always regret not taking him, and now obviously what you are doing is making this possible.
Can't thank you enough.
You get situations where people do need help, innit? Do you know what I mean? We have situations like this.
And how many lads is doing it now?
25 to 30 probably will go up the mountain.
And Watson is recruiting one more climber to his group of gorgers and gypsies.
Your dad's got to try and help out as well, hasn't his son? Yeah, kind of all these good men doing everything, and dad not trying to play his part. Thanks very much from the bottom of my heart. It's from one father to another father. It means the world, honestly. Thanks very much.
See you the 1st of March, Johnson. My lad, we'll do our best for you.
We'll say thanks very much, and we'll see you soon, eh?
It's the first time I've ever met a gypsy. It's totally changed my perspective on them. I mean, Watson's just a normal man. He's absolutely lovely.
Make sure he gets his training in.
I'll try and get as much as I can, like. I think it's really good that Watson is doing these things because it gives a chance for other people to see the nice side of the travellers and the gypsy side, because you find a lot of the travellers are stereotyped.
See you Ben Nevis, Sean.
We used to hear of constant fighting and thieving and, you know, violence and things like that, and it's not the case. Thanks for all your help, mate.
Today, Georgia has come to South London, to a performing arts college for her stage makeup trial. There are a few faces to transform, including first-year student Lauren, who's due for an audition in an hour.
Usually with the travellers, they know me, so it's easier. They've seen other girls that have had my work and things like that, and they know me as a person, so they're just like, oh yeah, crack on, you do what you want. But the gorges, they don't know me as well, so that's stressful. But it's all part of the job, innit? It's just putting yourself out there and chatting to people.
So what jobs do you usually do?
A lot of bridal, a lot of like traveller community.
How come?
So like I'm from travelling community, but most of the time I just tend to keep it to myself because I'd rather let people get to know me for me than know that.
What do you think it makes people think differently of you?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
100%. Like I've had like, my ex-boyfriend was a non-traveller and we were like driving down the road and someone pulled out of like a traveller's site, like out in front of him, and he was like, oh my God, you effing pikey. But like at the time he didn't know because like this was only like one of our first dates, so I hadn't felt the need to tell him yet. It was just really awkward, to be honest, because then like I felt like I couldn't tell him.
Oh my God.
I feel like my whole life it's just been fighting to prove that I'm something, but the negativity pushes me more. It gives me pride to know that I've done it all myself and I've not had to have handouts. I have had to work for it.
Woo! Love it.
I love my job.
Others are loving her work as well. Lauren's just posted George's work of art on Instagram, and it's a hit.
Oh, I'm really proud of myself. I think you've got to have it in you to work for yourself and you've got to have it in you to push yourself. One day I'd like it to be like everyone knew who I was and they wouldn't think twice about booking me, like wouldn't even think about going to anybody else. You've got to work to get there, haven't you?
Come here. Get over here. Get over here now. Behave yourself.
It's decision day in Wales.
Good girls.
The council stream their planning meetings online, so Raymond and Janice are waiting for the moment of truth.
Right, I've got a cup of tea if you.
Oh, thanks.
But the council have turned down traveller sites in the past.
We move on to the full application for changing use of agricultural land.
She's translating it, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Councillors and speakers can now make their case.
Is the Speaker aware of the type of people that will be coming into this site to stay?
Yes, they are hard-working people. They come here to work and to visit friends and family.
Are these the same family that leaves the mess that's on the site that they usually use? Because they do leave a mess behind them.
These people, they're talking about us people like we're nothing, like we're scum, like we're dirt on your feet, like.
Yeah.
Now everyone's had their say, it's time for the councillors to vote on the proposed traveller site.
Thank you. That application's therefore been refused.
Where are them people supposed to go?
I don't
Do you know?
It just boils down
It's
to
a
the
disgrace.
same thing. They're just prejudiced against travellers. They just don't want them.
We are the mountain climbers.
It's mid-morning, and Romany Gypsy Watson has gathered his merry men together for the Ben Nevis climb.
Jordan, are you excited to climb this mountain? Yeah.
These men are from two communities, Gypsies and Gorges,
How much weight have you lost? Half stone. One.
united for a good cause.
Yup, the Nevis. Here we are, go for it, fellas. Absolutely amazing what you and your friends is doing. You're a total inspiration to the travelling community. Some of the lads are travellers, some of them aren't. And there's no divide between us. That wall's been broken down. We're all friends together. Good luck and what a good cause for all involved. Anybody on this group watching who hasn't sponsored who wants to sponsor?
And again, he's relying on the well-connected Gypsy community to spread the word.
Willie Dixon, thank you for your sponsorship. Thank you, Eddie.
It's working. Donations are rolling in.
Yup, yup. The Ben Nevis crew. And just remember, lads, what we're doing this for, but it's about two little kids. One little girl's got a rare form of cancer, and the other little lad's got cerebral palsy and he needs to go abroad, and the families can't afford to pay for them.
But now, the reality of what's in store is staring them in the face.
It was all alright till we see these big mountains. It's getting a bit intimidating now. It's making you realise how big this Ben Nevis might be.
In Anglesey, Raymond's hopes for a stopping place for gypsies and travellers rides on the decision of the planning committee. They've had 2 weeks to consider if the objections of locals outweigh the need for a temporary stopping place.
Gypsy site to go ahead on Casting Boat. 10 berth camp will now be built between A5 and A55. That's a good thing to see that approved for Gypsy site on Casting Boat. That's cushy, because when they come over that bridge, they'll have somewhere to come and stop.
It's a first for Anglesey and a welcome surprise for Raymond.
Oh, you don't see that every day of the week, do you? My God.
It's 7:30 a.m. in Kent.
Chuck on the box and we're off to London.
Romany Gypsy Bill and the Cockney Duchess are heading for the capital.
Buckingham Palace, here we come, Chevy! In my own town, my own village, they complain about the horses. But when we go to London, they welcome it, they celebrate it, they love you. We're going to raise loads and loads of money today for this good cause.
Bill's Drive is one of the most popular in the traveller calendar, with over 100 gypsies attending.
51 horses here today. People come down from the Midlands, Oxfordshire. There's a fella come down from Newcastle, Cumbria. It's about 300 odd miles. One man's come from Glastonbury. Miles and miles and miles to come and raise money and support us, you know what I mean? It's fantastic, isn't it?
We've come 8 hours to the north-east. Racism against travellers. Can't beat better people. Just so we're not all bad ones, we're all good ones as well, you know what I mean? Have a nice day, everyone. Us travellers are the best.
Today I'm walking on air. How far you come? Newcastle. What a lovely day. Beautiful, the old bit of weather's cushy, isn't it? I feel alive on these drives, I feel alive.
It's really different when you come up to London because everybody seems to support the drives a lot more because it's a spectacular sight here. Because it's not something you see every day.
I love my drives, my horse drives. It's a time to meet up with people, meet up with our relatives, our friends. We're at Buckingham Palace there where the Queen lives, bless her. Hope she's here. It gives our children a chance to meet up and keep our traditions.
Here we are, Buckingham Palace. It's a lovely drive. Everyone enjoyed it.
It's not the kind of horse parade you normally see in this part of town.
We're Romany Gypsies. Horses are a big part of our culture and our life. There's been a few incidents in the papers, cruelty to animals from gypsies, travellers, but a lot of these horses here are worth thousands of pounds. They're looked after properly, you know. Horses were here before the cars, weren't they? No accepted racism up here. I love you. All you watching a minute we get to this pub. They welcome you.
Being a Londoner, anything that blocks the traffic, I'm not such a big fan of. So my general feeling is it's not a positive one.
Bill and 50 horses are heading to their favourite pub, one of the few that's happy to serve them.
Come and go through that way. Come and go through that way.
But it's not the welcoming party they've been expecting.
I don't know why the police have had to come because there was nothing wrong with what they were doing.
I think someone's had some cross words with one of the members of the public.
It's the morning of the Ben Nevis climb, and Watson's awoken to news of hazardous weather conditions.
If we leave any later than this, we're getting up to 60, 70 mile an hour winds at our top. That way's nice, that way's bad. Where are we going?
I'm a little bit alarmed now. We don't want anyone getting injured or dying. It could happen. And I could be responsible.
Right, where's the map at? Have you ever done out like this, fat boy?
Nah.
Nah. Never. Ben, never.
There's non-travellers participating in the climb. They'll look at me the same as the sailor community. And vice versa.
Looks like jelly, man. Keep them arms going.
Accept your neighbour for what he is. We're going all the way. Oh!
2 hours in, the conditions get tougher.
It's getting worse.
As the wind picks up and the temperatures plummet.
Lads, careful where he's walking. One slip and you're off that cliff edge. You can fall 500 feet to your death. It's fucking serious now. Oh. Wait 1 second. I've got him up. Aye, aye.
Finally, after 4 hours of climbing, the group reached the top, from which they must now climb down.
That was bad up there and absolutely soaked through. There's not a part of my body that's no wet.
Fucking boxy fucking weather.
Yeah, it was genuinely a terrible experience. It's class was only for the cause, but going up the top of that mountains, there was no enjoyment in that. Worst experience in my life.
It's a success. Watson and his crew have raised thousands for the much-needed treatment of 2 young children.
Hi, my baby.
Hi, Watson. Can you say thank you? Thank you so much for helping me.
The divide's not as big as what some people make it is. I don't care if you're a gypsy, traveller, settled, gorger, Teletubby. It's irrelevant. If people's in need, what difference would it make what race, creed or breed they are, right? Come on. We're all the same.
In London, Bill's having some bother from the police.
The horses blocking the horses weren't so much of an issue, it was having the car.
No, my fault, entirely my fault, yeah. No, I do apologise. Thanks for your time, sir.
It's all right, mate, no worries.
Bless you. Thank you very much, lad. Thank you. The cart was blocking the road, and that's all it was. He said, leave your horse there as long as you want. As good as gold. He shook me hand, lovely people.
The police are patrolling one of the few pubs to welcome gypsies, but today they're not the ones causing a problem.
So the footballers are always allowed in the pubs. The gypsies normally aren't, but the gypsies don't make this racket that's going on now or get as drunk as what they're doing. Whenever we've turned up at this pub before, we've never needed a police presence.
You know, do you?
Picked a good day to come.
Who's playing?
It's all Sheffield United.
Playing who?
Millwall.
Whilst most pubs close their doors, landlord Greg welcomes travellers.
I've been here 21 years and we do get quite often all the gypsies come down the alleyway and they do generally speak and respect the pub. And we also get a lot of football supporters and we just had one of those days today where they've all come at the same time. And I just hope they'll all be peaceful.
Over 100 travellers have enjoyed their pub stop without a hitch.
They're welcome travellers up here. We're welcome in the pubs, welcome in Borough Market. We're always welcome in London. Travellers are always welcome up here. I just wish where I live people would take leaf out of the same book, you know what I mean? I love my horse drives. It's good to come out and be visible and be proud of your culture.
It was really nice to actually see that coming through to London. I was like, wow, like, I've never seen this before. I think it could change the line, to be fair, because it was really amazing.
We're stereotyped, we're pigeonholed continuously. Being a gypsy is a magical thing, I think. Just got to keep pushing on.
A lot of people think we're bad people because we're gypsies, but we're actually good people.
I don't want to hate, I want to educate. I don't want my grandchildren to go through what I've gone through. Oh, look, how good is that, look? That's my grandson and my nephew, keeping our tradition alive. There's more to gypsies than dirty nappies and rubbish, but you don't hear that. They only see the negative stuff, they don't see the good side. I ain't a party, I'm a rubbly gypsy. I'm proud.
Next time,
this is the Kinky Nana.
English traveller Tony opens a new business.
Hello, Polly.
But faces a fight for his freedom.
I really hope I don't go to prison. They like my bars, let me out.
Mum of 7, Margaret,
Rocky!
becomes the poster girl for Ireland's housing crisis.
How many poor innocent people have died on the streets this year?
And the biggest traveller funeral ever
Number one.
brings a town to a standstill.
Up to 1,000 travellers here tonight. I mean, how do you deal with that?
And we're back with the Gypsies next door next Thursday at 9. It's a trip of a lifetime for the Wakefield wonder. She's going up the Ganges in New, cruising with Jay McDonald tomorrow at 9. And we're going up the aisle next as a bride of 23 ties the knot with a groom of 68. And why not? It's Big Age Gap Love after the break.